Hello and welcome to Recyclist. I'm your host, Eric Provost, and today I have the great privilege of being joined by the program director of the Better Play Initiative from the Recycled Rubber Coalition. Please tell me welcome to the show right now, Mr. Scott Gerber. Thank you so much for joining me today, sir.
Thank you, Eric, and thanks for having me on the Recyclist. I'm excited to join.
Absolutely. So you wear quite a few hats. We'll definitely get into the Better Play Initiative here in just a moment. You also are a co-founder of a public affairs or public relations company as well, correct?
That's correct. Yes. I run a company called Verge Strategies. We do public affairs, public relations, strategic communications, working largely in the technology space. But really, how do you tell stories in this modern world? How do you connect with audiences? And how do you make a meaningful difference on behalf of your clients?
And you guys are based out of DC, out of the nation's capital, correct?
We are based in DC, but in this post COVID world, we have offices in a number of places, including Bend, Oregon, and Austin, and Chicago, and Pittsburgh as well.
And with that background, coming from Stanford University and coming into this field, how did you get involved with a program like the Recycled Rubber Coalition and like the Better Play Initiative?
Yeah, well, my story is really the story of first a parent, then a program director of a travel baseball organization, and most importantly, as the coach of a little league team. So I have two sons. They both played travel sports. One plays travel baseball, the other played travel soccer. They played in high school. And I've seen over the years the challenges associated with playing on grass. Um, it rains a lot where I live in Arlington, Virginia. We get 40 plus inches of rain a year. And there are many days, many weekends, including today, where I had a little league game rained out that my guys can't get on the field and get their work in. And so I came to appreciate over time the ability of surfaces with turf and recycled rubber to allow for all season play. So when it rains, other teams are rained out, and the Padres are able to practice on a turf field with recycled rubber. So, as I was talking to members of the Recycled Rubber Coalition, I came to this issue with a lot of experience and a lot of perspective. And we started talking about the fact that people don't understand all the benefits of fields and playgrounds and parks that use recycled rubber in their surfaces, and that it provides safe and accessible and all season play. So we got to talking, and 6 months later, the Better Play Initiative was born.
And I think when you talk about recycled rubber in terms of turf and the applications that you're talking about, I think a lot of people's minds immediately go to, the playgrounds of their youth, the swing sets, the slides that have these like kind of densely shredded tires
Yeah.
as this kind of carpet underneath the playground. Is that similar, like even that old school type of shredded rubber? Is that still kind of what we're talking about, or what kind of advancements have been made in the past few decades?
It's not. Well, I grew up in a time when slides were made of metal.
Yep.
Uh, you burned yourself on the way down.
Yep.
You land on concrete, and then you brush yourself up, and you got back up. But
Yep.
the reality is, those playgrounds caused a lot of injuries, and certainly, I grew up in Southern California in the summer. It was like 110 degrees, and you just couldn't touch them. The reality is, playgrounds have become much safer over the years, and the recycling process has been advanced so that you have wonderful surfaces that have basically recycled rubber, and they're soft. They prevent fall, or when people fall, they prevent injuries, and they cushion everything. And frankly, they're not nearly as hot as that metal got back in the 1970s and 1980s when I was playing on playgrounds.
Yeah. Yeah. Black rubber can certainly retain heat.
Sure.
Um, but the Better Play Initiative is a relatively recent thing you guys have started up, correct? The press release, I believe, just got sent out back in March, just 2 months ago from this recording.
That's exactly right. So we launched the Better Play Initiative, and you can go and visit it at betterplaytoday.org, because there was a couple things that happened. One, there's a myth that's been built up over the years, which is that recycled rubber and crumb rubber infill causes adverse health impacts. Um, But in fact, this product, this surface has been studied as much as anything else. And study after study from the EPA, Cal EPA just came out with a study. There was a study in the Netherlands. Over and over, definitive science has shown that there's no adverse health impacts related to recycled rubber products. The reality is it has the same exposure levels as grass fields. So we felt that this myth had sort of taken root and we needed to bring a little bit of light to the issue. And so we really encourage people to read the science, to look at the studies, to really understand the fact that there is definitive work out there that shows that products using recycled rubber are safe.
Yeah, I know on the Recycled Rubber Coalition website, you guys source quite a few different things. Studies from 2018, 2017, a one pager from the EPA that came out last year. So, what do you guys specifically try to cite? You know, when you start talking to people, when you start talking to organizations, trying to talk about incorporating your recycled rubber into what they're doing. What is kind of the big like the one or two sentence pitch? What do you think people absolutely need to know about this stuff going in?
Well, I really think there are two things. The first thing is that um, fields and parks and playgrounds with recycled rubber surfaces have become ubiquitous across the country. They allow more kids to be active, more families to be active. They provide for incredible accessibility. There's a park in McLean, Virginia called Clemmy Jontry Park that's built so that people of all abilities can have access to this play. They prevent injuries, and they make it possible for play to take place all year round, even right after sort of big storms pass. Kids can get back on those surfaces and resume activity. So that's one. And the second piece is that these parks and playgrounds and playing fields are safe. This has been studied and studied and studied again. And all of these studies are consistent that they show that essentially surfaces using recycled rubber are just as safe as grass.
Yeah, I know the website you talk about over 100 different studies on the subject, and I will say, looking at the website, a couple other numbers that kind of blew my mind in terms of the amount of recycled rubber that actually exists kind of blows my mind. What is it today? Today rubber tire recycling keeps more than 220 million tires out of landfills each year.
That's
That's kind of a
exactly right.
that's kind of a mind blowing number, and it would surprised me to know that it was that many. You wouldn't figure that such a high percentage of tires like that would be recycled.
Well, that's right. I mean, let's understand what's going on here. You drive a car, tires reach their end of life.
Yep.
There are three routes for them to go. Route number one is they end up in a landfill. Route number two, and this is a huge problem across the country, is that they could end up along the side of the road somewhere. And frankly, water sort of pools it in and they become breeding ground for mosquitoes and other things. Or route number three is that they can be recycled, they can be cleaned, they can be shredded. The metal in those tires gets recycled in other ways, and then they can be repurposed for a host of products. So it can go into crumb rubber infield in these playing fields that we talk about. It can be a track around a park or at a school. It could be in a yoga mat, and or it could be in like rubber mulch. There are a host of applications for these products, and it's one of the great success stories in our nation that we've been able to take a product that could be in landfills for hundreds of years, or it could be along the side of a road, or we can repurpose it into something that promotes healthy and active communities.
And I'll say you've already spoken to it a little bit. You know, you've come at this from the point of view of a parent, but from just a purely business perspective, do you feel like there is kind of an untapped market within this space to really re-inject this new new generation recycled rubber, especially when it comes to the playgrounds and specifically sporting arenas and events, going from not just youth sports, but potentially up to collegiate and even professional. Do you think there's a market there?
Well, clearly there's a market there, but what the Better Play initiative is really all about is sharing good, definitive data that's been done through rigorous science to look at the impacts of this. And as the researchers have done study after study, what they found is that these products, these surfaces are safe. So, as school administrators, as athletic directors, as departments of parks and resources look at these questions, and they hear some of the myths that are out there, we want a place for them to go so that they can look at all of the science, make informed decisions. And we think when they do that and they consider how these surfaces with recycled rubber promote these healthy, active communities, that they will make the decision, as many already have, to install these surfaces at their park or at their school or out at their community center, and do it in a way that helps encourage young people and really people of all ages to stay healthy and active, vigorous members of their community.
Now, when it comes to sourcing the rubber, I know the Better Play Initiative. I know what you're doing is largely focused on the education and information dissemination. But in terms of actually sourcing the rubber, how would people go about that?
Well, many of the big tire installers, they have recycling programs. Sometimes when you get your tire changed there's a small recycling fee that goes along with it. And then many communities have their own recycling programs as well. So it's really important that if you have a flat, if your tire reaches end of life, that you find a way to ensure that your tires are recycled, because it not only is it good for the environment, it also has a second life as these surfaces which are so important for our communities.
So even getting this crumb rubber that you're talking about, even that can be done in most places locally.
Well, what happens is once that tire is changed out, it
Mhm.
goes to a facility. It's shredded manually. It's clean. There's no additional additives to it, and then it is turned into various uh, different products through a physical process. It's not a chemical process. So some of it is shredded down into crumb rubber. Others is molded into different applications, whether it's um, uh, mulch or yoga mats or whatever it may be. But you want to make sure that you are part of the process to start that recycling.
Moving away from the turfs and some of the prior techniques and products that I'm sure we still see in some playgrounds across the country, what was kind of the big drawback? Like, why are people so inclined to change over to this new crumb rubber?
Well, I think they see the benefits of it, right? They see that they create these safer surfaces. They see that they can
Hmm.
prevent falls. They see that they can create beautiful molded um, parks and playgrounds that kids love to play on. So the people who are making decisions, whether they're in county DPR departments or whether they're school administrators, they see the benefits, because it means that they're utilization goes up. It's 10 times higher utilization versus grass. Their maintenance costs go down by as much as 75%. And then they can make sure that the people in their communities are able to play when it rains or a few days after it snows. They're much more resilient than traditional grass facilities.
And kind of underneath the Better Play initiative, what are some of the ways that you go about, doing what you do to kind of help spread the message?
Well, first of all, talking to people like you, sharing our stories.
Which we appreciate.
And we appreciate too. We are also have launched a social media campaign really focused on accessibility. We put out blogs about parks like Clemmy Tree, like I mentioned. We have a
Mhm.
blog coming out about the 10 most accessible parks in the U.S. As I go to various fields, I went down to Shipyard Park in Columbia, in Charleston, South Carolina, And this is a really amazing facility. It's got 4 baseball fields and a beautiful playground. It's right on a river. It's maybe the most beautiful baseball complex that I've been to. And it has turf with recycled rubber. We were there. The rain came down, and within half an hour, the fields were ready to go again. So it's really trying to share some of these stories. You know, look at the information when new reports come out. Just about 6 weeks ago, California EPA took a look at this issue, and they put together a study that had findings completely consistent with what we saw from EPA, Netherlands study, and other studies, which basically found that any exposure was basically the same as grass, and that these facilities are safe. And they didn't say this, but they promote more active play, which is something that we all should support right now.
And where are you seeing, what level are you seeing new playgrounds kind of adopt these new techniques and this new crumb rubber? Are you seeing it fairly widespread pretty quickly, or is it all about just educating people and finally getting the message out there?
Well, I think community after community has looked at this issue. And over time, you're seeing communities make decisions to move to turf with crumb rubber. Even the Cleveland Browns, not too long ago, announced that they were replacing grass fields with turf fields. It's something that people, when they look at it closely, when they look at it deeply, they see incredible benefits. They see more accessibility, more resilience, less in terms of maintenance cost, the ability to recycle, and ultimately to be able to play, to be able to have fun more of the time. So you put it all together, and it's a really compelling package for people who are making decisions about how to use recreational facilities.
And if people wanted to learn more, in addition to the website, how could people reach out to you, or where would you kind of steer people who were really interested in adopting it for their own community?
Yeah, come to betterplaytoday.org. Come to our page on LinkedIn. Come to our page on X. Come to our page on Instagram and Blue Sky. If you want to reach out to media at betterplaytoday.org. We are more than happy to talk to you. We have incredible resources. We have links to all of the studies. We have information that you can share with people in your communities. And we look forward to talking with people about what are the benefits of these incredible products.
Yeah, I second that. Like I said, I've spent some time on the website. I've been looking at the numbers and the research for myself, and I was surprised by some of the things that I saw. Again, just very quickly going back to that 220 million recycled tire number still blows me away. But yeah, again, Mr. Gerber, thank you very much for joining us today, and I'm really excited to kind of see what the Recycled Rubber Coalition has going on in the future. I know this is you guys' big push for the foreseeable future, and I wish you all the best with it.
Well, Eric, thanks for having me on. I mean, for me, this is a simple choice. As a father, as a coach, as somebody who is on the board of a travel baseball organization, I see this as an enormous opportunity. How can we divert 220 million tires a year from landfills and from dumping grounds, turn them into something that's a benefit to the community, and do it in a way that promotes safe, active, all season play in a way that supports healthy communities. To me, it's a win, 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 and I couldn't be happier to talk about this and really appreciate being on your show.
Well, we're happy to have you. I mean, it sounds like a no-brainer to me. Keep stuff out of landfills, protect the kids. It seems like a fairly easy decision. But Scott, once again, thank you so much for joining us, guys. Make sure to go ahead and check out all of those links. We'll link them in the description of this podcast below, so you can check them out directly from there. But guys, make sure to go ahead and check them out online. But once you do, go ahead and check out diamondsci.com. That's diamondsci.com. Diamond Scientific is an industry leader in gas analysis, instrumentation, and solutions. You can also call them at 321-223-7500 to set up a personalized presentation. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to this episode of Recyclist. I've been your host, Eric Provost, and we will see you back here next week for another brand new episode. Thank you.